stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the sports in our arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Heard. Will be heard. Will be heard. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. We explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the fierce debates. We explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at another stream, another live. Originally, we were going to do a different show. But after talking to my boy Wally and thinking, it's time to fuck things up a little bit. In other words, let's change shit up. When I first started this journey, my first video, I was thinking, what the hell do I say? What do I do? I was very awkward on the camera, believe it or not. And sometimes I still am. So I remember my first video was my channel about whatever the fuck I want. And it's still the same concept, whatever the fuck I want. So I thought I'd change it up a little bit today. Let's mix it up. Excuse me. Originally, I know my thumbnail didn't update for some weird reason. I don't know why. But originally it was supposed to be dating 2026, whatever. I'm kind of over that shit. Hey, my man, what's going on? I have the link in your email. You should have it by now. If not, let me know. I'll re-email it to you. And I was saying, so I want to change things up a little bit. I'm just tired of talking about relationship stuff, 2020 dating. Yeah, fun. I think that's what we're missing. Fun. Spawn Arena. I mean, the opportunity to hang out is super fun. The wrestling talk extremely fun. Getting on with the guys on Gen X talking great fun. I like the serious stuff with Sean. Let's change this up here a little bit. Let's bring this knucklehead in here first, and I'm going to talk to him in a minute about fun.
You were meant to keep it PG, yet.
I can do whatever I want whenever I want. You know what? Hang on. I'll let you think up.
I can barely hear
So
you.
here's the thing.
Cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear.
Right.
Yep.
See what it says under my name? What did it say over here? The CEO of what? Come on,
my network.
put your glasses on. That not your network.
I'm
Last time
joking.
I checked, you don't pay the bills.
I'm joking.
Oh, good. The day you pay the bills, I'll let you go shots. How's that sound? That's what I thought. So I was saying we're gonna change things up. Greg is right. How? He doesn't pay the bills. I do. I'm gonna pick a bone when you get on here. So anyway, I got tired of it. So I was actually thinking about like I want to change this up and stuff like that, like do it next week or week after, whatever. Right? I've been thinking that for a while now. We're talking to Wally and all this stuff. Like some of this content on the Spar Arena has been repeated. I'm not changing the title of the show. I like the name Spar Arena. As an arena, we can talk about whatever and however you want. So, and in the background, I had my old friendly friend called CQ. He shows on right now, actually, at Pop Culture Warrior. And he was talking about athletes from the past versus today. From the Greek time, the Roman time versus the modern time. I go, that is a conversation I'm willing to have tonight. And Mr. Bonehead over here, you couldn't figure that out, could you?
Dude, I'm still trying to set up all the settings on my new TV, for Christ's sake.
Excuses. So, I'm usually pre-prepped out for a show. I'm going to wing it tonight. Completely wing it. We're going to have a nice conversation. If it lasts an hour, great. If it lasts an hour and a half, great. It lasts only 20 minutes. I'm okay with that too. But we're going to wing it completely today. So before we do that, let me pop the rules up for everybody. I'm going to drop the link. I know I don't usually do that on Tuesdays, but heck, whatever. All right, guys. You know the rules. No personal attacks, issues, threats, language. I'm working on that part on my end. Playing, racist, all nice jazz, sexist, whatever. All right, if you want to come on, very simple. Rule number 1, no smoking. Rule number 2, no eating on camera. Rule number 3, dress appropriately. Rule number 3, my camera must be on. And number 5, mic must be on. And here's your link of the night. Come in, say hi to us. Just follow the rules, gentlemen. If you want to talk sports about present and past, this is the show you should be on. And you should definitely watch it. All right, Greg, tell me, what do you think about the present? Excuse me, the past and the present and the future, maybe, of sports.
Oh, really? Sports.
You're a man. You should know about sports.
You know I don't know much about sports because I don't watch it and I don't follow sports. But the old Olympics sports were pretty good. The javelin, throwing stuff and that sort of thing.
That's all you got.
Told you, I don't follow sports. You already know this.
All right, listen, dude. We should. All right. Third time's a charm. Don't get sick, guys. It sucks. Trust me. All right.
Totally agree.
Mariana, the link is in the chat if I did not send it to you. And I think I did. I don't know if I did. So, all right. Press and pass it. Dude, think about it, bro. Back in the day, in ancient Greeks, ancient Roman time, let's stick with Greeks because, I am Greek. They didn't have all the modern equipment. They didn't shoot themselves with steroids. They needed the top shoe to make them faster. They were wearing almost nothing. The first Olympics, they were actually naked competing.
Yeah.
Now they have to go to the best gym in the world. They have to take the best, use the best sneakers. Some of them thinking Nike versus Under Armour, yada yada yada. But who was the better athlete? That is the question I'm trying to break down today. Go ahead, Greg.
As I said, I don't really have a clue.
And that's the problem I think most of us have, bro. Or we're naive, I think. With modern technology, I think it's very...
Tech nowadays actually screwed our lives up. When the internet came out, the internet's great because it connected a lot of people across the world. But it also screwed with everyone. Yeah,
you let it screw you.
No, yes and no.
You let it screw you. Go ahead. Listen.
When I was younger, I never really had much to do with the internet. I was out all the time. I was getting up to mischief as a kid. Literally climbing into my dad's old workyard, climbing flaming stacks of timber and all that sort of crap. What else did you doing? I was more out than I was in. But when the internet came around, I still went out. I spent more of my time out than I did in the house, even with games around. I would rather be out than be stuck in. But the last 7 years, I've been wanting to be stuck indoors more than be stuck outdoors. But yeah,
so you don't like being outside anymore?
Not really.
Why?
I wouldn't mind it if it was freezing cold and snowy and pissing down with rain. I'd go out a lot more then. But in the summer, I can't stand the heat.
That seasonal thing is a preference. I know people who.
The sun actually gives me a massive headache. It actually does. It hurts my eyes.
But it still is a preference. If you like going out during the winter versus summer, that's what you enjoy more because of medical reasons or whatever. It is still a personal preference in a way. Think about what you're saying.
Yeah, I totally
You saying
agree.
you don't like being in the sun because you get
It
sunstroke
hurts me.
or
I give
headaches or
me
whatever?
massive headache, and I overheat a lot. So, but yeah. What else we got?
But my point is trying to get to you choose not to go out really sometimes, bro.
Sometimes, yeah, I choose not to go
You
out.
do.
But
You do.
for 5 years, 4.5, 5 years, I didn't have a choice.
How you didn't have a choice? Everybody has a choice.
I didn't have a choice. My life was being threatened by a few of my neighbours because of one guy. I
I
couldn't
was still
step
one
foot
out. I
out of
don't
my
give a
front
shit who
door.
the fuck they are. That's me.
Well,
I would have went out.
we're not the same people. We're not the same people. You know?
I would still went out. I'll be honest with you.
I never
That's one thing
stepped
I
foot
do
out.
enjoy. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you first.
There's one thing I do enjoy is actually taking time, even if it was fucking negative 10 degrees out. I do enjoy walking that 30-minute walk I go with my dog every day.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that
Um,
walk.
I used to love going out in my t-shirt and shorts in the snow. No
I think
joke.
that's stupid, personally.
I was fine
You know-
because I literally preferred the cold because literally my whole body would overheat. Hey, Antoine.
Man.
What's going on, Craig?
And Tyler, what's
Yeah,
up?
up,
What's
Peter?
going on, my man?
Nothing much.
Yeah.
Nothing much.
All
It's one of
right,
the reasons
because
I'm
Greg has,
glad
you
to
know, he's going back and forth with this with me. So I want to talk about the athletes from the past, from the present, excuse me,
Okay.
ancient Greece, Roman Empire versus today. I know you're a sports guy. You know what I'm talking about now.
Definitely.
I think personally, the Roman and the Greeks have an upper edge versus today's athletes. If you put them mano to mano versus, think what I'm saying to you. I think those guys have.
They were better back then. They were a lot better back then because they didn't have a lot of health problems back then. Yeah.
I'm not even talking
that
about
is
health
one
problems.
point.
I'm not even talking about health problems. I'm talking about the
No, I'm
way
just
they
saying.
trained. I'm talking.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
were
give
a
a
lot
fuck about
fitter
health.
back then.
Greg, drop it. Drop it. I am talking about training. I'm talking about the sports they're in. They're into fist fighting. They're into javelin. They're into whatever sport they were doing at the time.
They were a lot fitter back then than we are nowadays.
No, they weren't. They were actually more overweight back then.
Were they?
Yes, back then. Okay. The God of War, Valhalla, the game. So Thor, a fat guy, like he was my stature actually. Believe it, a little gutty, a long beard. That was the actual fit. Not the statues we see. Statues are actually myth. They're wrong. The Greeks and Roman. Most of them they were gutty guys because they had to have all the gut to survive the winters.
Right.
The bigger the gut you had, more money you had. That meant.
And the more fat you had to help deal with the cold.
Yeah, and more fat you had, they're throwing you more.
Yeah.
And that's how it was back then. Now is the opposite. Skinnier arm, six. Oh, this guy has money. But believe it or not, those guys who are actually overweight have more money than the guys who are in the gym all the time. Fun fact, by the way. But I'm serious.
Wow.
Like, who do you think has the upper edge? If I threw two athletes in front of you, I don't know. Let's say javelin for argument's sakes, or
Okay.
a runner, the best one. Better example from a Spartan era versus 2026. Who do you think is going to have the upper edge? This is why I'm having this conversation tonight.
That's gonna be
Let's have fun.
That's gonna be a challenge because a lot of people are gonna say a lot of the warriors, a lot of the Roman or the Spartans have an advantage because it's that natural fit. You know, like you hear the term country strong, like you don't need weights or you don't need all these machines or you don't need certain things. Like you can just build up on your own. Some people would use that as an example. Yeah. A lot of people would use that as one example. And then you have, okay, let's say in this case, you have a track guy like Usain Bolt. Now we all know what he was able to accomplish and everything else. Another great track athlete from back in the day would be Jesse Owens or Carl Lewis. A lot of these guys worked out, they trained and everything else. Both because he's more recent within the last 20 plus years. He's probably had a diet, he's probably had a training regimen. But one of the things that does work for him in advance, because he's from Jamaica, a lot of the runners run on the beach, so that help build their legs up as well. So it could be anything. And I think one of the things that works in Bolt because he doesn't have to worry about weight, that makes it easier for him to run a little bit faster. A lot of people would say so. That's one advantage that works in his favor. But when it comes to like endurance and stamina, you know, it could be a Spartan that could work in that because who knows how long a Spartan can fight for.
The average battle, I think it was about 45 minutes, give or take, average. And I might be completely wrong on that.
You got to have a lot of endurance and stamina to hold your weapon, to hold your shield, and to stand up too.
Hang on, Greg.
That's the challenge. That's going to be a
Go
challenge.
ahead, Greg.
Stand up on your feet.
All right, before you go, Greg, so the thing people don't understand, that helmet you're wearing, I have my own personal Spartan helmet over on my other side, and I'll bring it out. Okay. It's very hard to breathe on it, a goddamn thing. 2, it's heavy as shit. And 3, you can barely fucking see shit out of it.
No peripheral vision.
So you're always moving. Imagine, you have all that weight on your head, on top of your body. So now you have 10, 15, 20 pounds more on your head. I'm not sure what they weighed back then. I'm not going to sit there and lie to you guys.
I can imagine. A lot of the stuff is made out of brass too, so who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Great. Go ahead. What were you going to say before?
The Spartans, back in the old days, they were a lot fitter, weren't they? Yeah.
Again, you're wrong. I told you. Wrong. Again, they were overweight.
They had a lot more muscle in their arms and legs. They had a lot of fat on their belly. Right.
Greg, you're not listening to what I'm telling you, bro. What you see in comic books, in movies, is not reality. They were my statue, believe it or not. They had the gut. They had a long beard. They didn't have the big arms like you see. That's Hollywood. Get that out of your head for a minute, bro.
Okay.
Because what you're thinking is what the world has taught you. If you put your hand on the hot water, what's going to happen? You're going to burn your hand, right?
Right.
Yep.
Okay, good. So, but teach you, if you put your hand in water, then you throw ice over it really fast, nothing's going to happen to your hand. You ever learned that?
That's the first. I never heard that one.
That's a cook set. Yeah. Okay. So whenever time you burn your hand, you want to cool down the skin fast as possible, like minutes. I mean, like seconds. I mean, not even minutes, like fast as possible. Another trick to that is actually once you cool it down with like literally get a bucket of ice, water, cold as you can, like 32 degrees and under, and stuck it in there. And it's gonna hurt like a fucker. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah, it does.
I can imagine.
Then toothpaste is another trick to it. The toothpaste actually helps to cool it down. So, again, the question to you, Greg, got you right here, right? Remember, they were overweight back then because they didn't eat every day. Sometimes they eat most of them ate once a day on the average. They didn't eat 3 or 4 days a meal. No, think like that's a modern thing. That's a very modern thing. What we're doing with eating habits. That's why a lot of people think that. I'm sorry.
It definitely is a modern thing because I used to only
because
I used to eat a small pack of pasta a day. And that was like 5 days a week.
First of all, that's not healthy. That's diabetic shock 101. What they
really?
used to eat mostly what they used to eat, it was garden stuff like freaking potatoes, whatever was in season at the time, cucumbers, stuff like that. That was their main source of energy. Then whatever they hunt, if you were a good hunter, whatever you hunt that day is what you ate that day. So let's say you found I don't know, a deer, a nice nice buck, you're gonna eat well that night.
Mm.
But now the question is, how do you keep the rest of that meat? You don't. You eat it. Because back then, there was no refrigerators. You could smoke it and keep it a day or 2, 3 tops. But you're not gonna, because I only said 2 or 3 day tops, because you wouldn't eat that shit. You let it sit there hanging. I'm like, would you, if I were in front of you, a nice juicy T-bone steak, are you let that sit 3 or 4 days, or are you gonna eat the shit
Nah.
out of that?
I'm going to enjoy. We'll try to get it all done in one day.
Exactly. You see where I'm going with this now, right? So the thing, that's why a lot of people do the intermittent fasting here in the States. Greg, do you guys do intermittent fasting up there in the UK?
No, I don't, but a few people probably do.
So people do it up there. So yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So intermittent fasting, they got the idea from the from the old times. Back then, they ate once a day, maybe twice a day.
What's up?
Yeah.
I did.
So, hang on, let me mute him really fast. All right, I think I did. Okay, good. So that's where the idea came from. You don't eat all day long, so you can actually, that's how your body was designed technically. This thing, and that's not true.
Yeah.
Your body wasn't really designed like that. In a way, it was. I can't say that. Let me rephrase that. Your body was designed to eat a certain way, but our body has evolved over the years, and it evolved and evolved and evolved to the point your body cannot sit there and not eat all day long. Does that make sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Like things we're drinking, like you drink soda all day long, right, Greg?
I drink soda all day long, and I drink a lot of coffee. I drink more coffee than that.
Okay, what I would have told you, that is a modern invention again.
Yeah, it's modern. Yeah.
And the two and worst inventions. Coffee's not as bad for you if it's only if you drink it black. It's actually very, very good for you. But when you're adding all the sugars, the creamers, that's where you kind of screw it up.
Very unhealthy.
Now, if you're
He's trying to have just one coffee a day. That's it.
Dude, I drink about 5
I try to have at least one cup of coffee a day. Just one.
No, you can drink black all day long. You want 2 or 3 black cups a day.
Most of the time, I drink it with milk and sugar. Every now and then, I've had it black because, like, if I was in a situation and I didn't have milk or sugar and I had to drink it black, okay, so be it. I'll drink it black. But on the regular, I gotta have a little bit of milk, a little bit of sugar.
I was like that. I was like, let me guess, light and sweet.
Yeah.
So I used to drink light and sweet myself. I mean, like creamers. I used to do everything. And I used to tell all people I work with, when I used to work out and stuff like that in gyms, you're not fucking with my coffee. That's one thing you won't do. Fuck with my coffee.
Someone just put a good comment.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out in a second. Hang on. So that's one thing I would do is fuck with my coffee. And people said, if you want to lose weight, you're going to have to, kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Change your coffee habits. I went, all right, no problem. And I was thinking about it over time. And I was thinking and thinking and thinking. I go, all right, let me switch my milk first. So I went to almond. I hated almond milk at first. So I'm lying to you. I switched sugar first. I went from white sugar to brown sugar.
Oh, okay.
And I go, and it took me a little to get used to. Then I got used to it. Then eventually I went to almond milk, unsweetened. So eventually, slowly, I cut out the sugar, and I just did almond milk. All right, and eventually, I just gave it up and I did do it plain black. You just lean yourself off slowly. Doesn't make sense. All right, let's read this comment from Mariana. Really. Okay. During ancient Greek, the Olympians athletes ate cheesecake slices they invented as a source of protein, fuel their bodies as like, yeah, they did eat cheesecake. I'm not denying that one bit. That I'm not going to argue. I can't argue something like that. They did eat, a different food like we're used to. Before I get into that, let's get our man of the hour, our president.
Wait, there's no sound.
Mr. President, how you doing tonight?
I'm okay. What's going on, guys? What's going on, Anton?
What's good? What's going on?
All good.
I'm running
all
away.
good.
I'm for presidency.
You guys shave your head first. He's the president of 7Bs. If you're going to go vote against his next election, you have to shave your head. That's part of the rules.
I gotta touch up myself, so
Mr. President, am I wrong or right?
If I shaved my head, I would never go.
Well, look, if they want membership into the 7B network, then yes, head shaving is a requirement. Yes.
And he wants to take your presidency away. He says he's going to run against you next year for presidency for 7B.
Well, if he wants to,
you said that.
It starts with the hair shaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did.
So how can you claim to be? First of all, do you know what the 7Bs stand for? It's the bold and the beautiful, the beneficent, benevolent ball brotherhood of the BMU network. So if you're not willing to take on the bald attributes, then how can you honestly run for an office that you're clearly not qualified for?
I never said any of that.
You said you were going to run.
No, now he didn't say that.
I said I'm going to run away.
Run away. Okay. Then we don't have an issue.
That's what I said. Peter twisted it.
Peter twisted.
Oh, okay. Now it's my fault. Listen, I shaved my head a couple times.
Got him again.
Yeah, I shaved my head a couple times. You guys see me bald headed.
Mm.
It's not, it's okay. It's a little chilly this time of year, but that's what they have hats for.
Mm.
So, Paul, we're talking about athletes today. I'm going to change it up.
Okay.
I'm going to mix this up completely now. So we were talking about the athletes from the past. I'm going way, 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 way back. I'm talking about great parents kind of thing from ancient Greece, like with the Acropolis, the Romans, all that stuff. Were they better athletes than today's athletes? Is my question for us tonight. Oh, I got him good this time.
No, I'm just pondering your question. Were they better athletes than today's athletes?
I will say yes. I personally say yes.
I would probably say no. Just given one, diet, second, training methodology, the introduction of strength training, and just the physicality of especially depending on the sport. If you want to talk about wrestlers, what guys do today, and like, let's say in the heavyweight division, I think it's leap years beyond what it's like guys who play modern football in the NFL today. Back in the 70s, which is an era I'm very fond of because the Steelers, they won the 4 Super Bowls in the 70s. The average offensive lineman was 250 pounds. Now the average lineman is 320 pounds. And they run sub 5 second 40-yard dashes, which these guys didn't do back in the day. And they averaging over 500-pound bench presses. So I just think overall, I think the technology, not the human. Now, this is what I will say. Human beings haven't changed a whole lot, evolutionary wise, in a few hundred years. That's not even a blip on the evolutionary scale. And I'm not going to get into a debate about evolution here, but I'm just saying certainly Homo sapiens really hasn't changed a whole lot certainly in the modern era, certainly in the last 1,000 years, let alone the last 20,000 years. But technology has certainly changed to allow human beings to operate at peaker efficiency, to be healthier, to live longer, to be stronger, to have more endurance than before. Even just the Even when it comes to track and field, like the tracks that we run on are different. Like back then, you ran on hard pavement or grass. Now you're running on these tracks that if you ever been on a rubberized track, it kind of gives you lift. The running shoes that you use are very different than what athletes used even less than 100 years ago in the Olympics. Like if you go back to like Jesse Owens, who ran a 10-second 100 yards, it wasn't even meters yet. I think it was 100 yards. Just the technology, they didn't have the starting blocks like they do now in sports. So I think the technology is what makes the difference. I'm not saying that human beings have changed a whole lot, but certainly when you incorporate diet, strength training, and just technique. I mean, if you look at boxing, for example, from 100 years ago when they were using leather gloves, like not even padded gloves, they were just, these literally like a mountain glove you put on your hand to go outside with, right? They weren't throwing 20 jabs and 50 jabs around and what. You could tell it was very slow and very methodic. Watch the old boxing footage because, again, one punch can break your hand. It wasn't until they started adding padding to the gloves that you could throw more punches more comfortably over a course of the fight, where instead of throwing maybe a few dozen punches in a fight, now you can throw hundreds of punches in a fight. Again, that's technology again that made the sport better. And certainly the idea of technique, the idea of the art of boxing, meaning the art of being hitting without being hit. I think that's relatively new. If you look at the old boxing from England from back in the day, it was like, mano y mano. You hit me, I hit you, and let's see who stands up. But when you had guys like Sugar Ray Robinson came out, like I debate this with Mandrell quite a bit. Sugar Ray Robinson was an anomaly because back then those guys, Rocky Graziano and Zane and all those pugilists, they used to call them pugilists back in the day. These guys would get in the ring and beat each other up. And so you get a guy like Jackie Robinson, he changed the game. The guy has a dancing background. He can tap dance. He was like, what is this? Like nobody saw an athlete like that before that can not only hit, but move and get out of range and punch in range when he wanted to. That changed boxing. So again, I can't imagine that again, given hundreds if not thousands of years, as you talk about the ancient games, thousands of years of training and technique, get better diet, a better understanding of the human anatomy and what the body needs. That if you were just to do a Thanos snap and bring one of those ancient wrestlers from back in the day, and you put them in against a modern, even an NCAA D1 champion wrestler, that modern wrestler wouldn't have that guy down in seconds. Because what these guys are able to do now, and especially with the lean body mass, these guys are ripped up. They're not the large, fat, overweight guys like before. These guys are incredibly lean, but have incredible endurance and are incredibly strong and just doing things moves that haven't even been invented yet. Like, I don't know, was the bridge invented in ancient Greek times? I don't know.
That's obviously we don't know that. I'll give you that much. Well, one thing I will kind of push back a little bit. This is my personal theory. I have no evidence, and I might be one of the few people who thinks this. Most of these athletes, I personally think they're on some type of steroid. Maybe they don't test that steroid in that sport, but I do think you cannot tell me these guys get beat up day after day in football, for example, and they can get on the field and they're not taking something to recover faster. That's even for recovery. That's a type of steroid. At the end of the day, let's be honest here. So,
I would agree with that. But I'm saying, but there's always been in sport anything that you take of an herbal nature can be considered an anabolic. Back then in the 40s and the 50s, they call them uppers and speed and whatnot because guys would be out clubbing and partying. I know our guy Anton Willie Mickey Mantle, him and Billy Martin, those guys were notorious for boozing and womenizing the night before, coming to the game high and drunk. They take a couple speeds and go in there and they hit, Mickey would do his thing.
And
So I think you've
ironically,
always had the idea of performance enhancement has always kind of been around. And again, steroids have been around since the 40s. I think they were initially created for injuries from wounds in like World War II.
Mm,
I think
yeah,
that's when they first started being used. So again, there's always that you
I think
always
you're
kind of look
right.
for that. You can always look for an advantage. But again, my thing is if everybody's on the same advantage, then it kind of it cancels itself out. You know what I mean? But even if you were to take these guys off the sauce, and again, you put a person of equal weight from an ancient game or any sport for that matter, I think the modern athlete would win. But again, it's not as dramatic. It's not like I said, between Jesse Owens' time in 1936 and now, you're talking 90 years. I think that the change in the record is maybe a second and a half. So you mean to tell me all this, that everything that we know about training, nutrition, and the better technology and the tracks and everything like that, you only improve the speed of a human being by certainly no more than 2 seconds. They went from 100 yards to 100 meters. And again, he ran like a 10-second or 10.5, whatever it was. Now the record now, Usain Bolt, I think it's like 9.69 or something like that. I think it's the 9.58. 9.58 is the current world record. And interestingly, on the women's side, Florence Griffith Joyner still has the record, and she set that in 1992. So
was it 92? I thought it was earlier than that.
I'm sorry, it was
thought-
88. No, it was
It was
88.
an 88. It was
88,
a soul.
yeah,
I
88.
remember
So it's
that.
like
It
you
was
got
a soul.
38 years, and no woman has broken that record yet.
Oh,
So
I
again,
never came close.
yeah. So I think that the like I said, there's been a nominal change in certainly in athletic performance over the years. It's mostly by technology, diet, and training. And then there's another aspect here that I think we also need to consider. When you're talking about elite sports, initially a person chooses the sport that they want. But after a time, the sport chooses the athlete. If you ever
That's
look
true
at
too.
most of these sports, like look at swimmers, for example, do you notice the body types? When have you ever seen a swimmer that just didn't fit this sort of tall, lean, lanky build? You know what I mean? So I think after a while, the sport starts selecting the athlete. After you're going to have to make a decision after a time that, look, you just don't have the physicality to compete at this level. Your levers aren't long
I'll
enough.
give you a good example,
Have
bro.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Phil Heath, one of the best bodybuilders. He's
Mm.
I'm not saying the best, one of the best. A top
He's
there.
one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah,
His best.
he
Yeah. He was up there.
yeah, so I remember how many Olympians he had, but he was a basketball player first. But he
He
realized
won 7 Olympias. Yes. He was a college basketball player. But if you,
Wow.
and he
even if you look
realized
at his pictures, even if you look at his pictures from his games, dude had biceps like Trey Ferg. I mean, he was the
Oh,
guy.
wow.
He had
was
the
ripped.
genetic. Yeah.
He had the right genetics. That's the other thing. But one thing I will give the ancient athletes versus the modern athlete, the modern athletes have, let's say, okay, Olympians, for example, they have 4 years of training for these events, all right? Or pre-qualifications once a year, whatever the case is, right? They that's what they focus on if they're in the pros era, okay, sector. But the ancient athletes, there was no such thing as pro. They maybe
Mm.
train 6 months out of the year if they were lucky, if they were very
Mhm.
lucky and they had money. Most of them, they were hunters, soldiers, farmers. They had to do their everyday job still.
Mhm.
And training wasn't really a thing. They did that. That was aftermath. They still be able to do what these athletes off the juice are doing in less time.
Well, see that we'll never know. You're saying able to do what they we don't. All we knew is that you had people of common background
Mhm.
competed against one another and to determine who the winner was going to be. It was a level playing field back then. You didn't have a person who wrestled since they were 6 years old, all the way up through high school, all the way up through college, and through the and there's not a professional wrestling league, but I'm just saying you didn't have that progression, but the athletes that compete today do. So again, if you're going to tell me that these guys only train for a portion of the year because they had these other responsibilities, And now you're going to put him in against a guy who's dedicated his life since he was 6 or 8 years old to it. Even more so, I'm going to take the modern athlete, because when you talk about muscle memory, muscle twitch, and just the technique and all the things that are involved, I cannot pick the ancient athlete, but certainly he would have been on par with his peer if his peer was doing the same thing.
So, okay, I want to break down a little bit from in how I look at it. Right, I'm not saying all athletes in back in ancient times are equal with today's, but if you pick like a culture like the Romans, the Spartans, I'll use the Spartans for example that I know very well. All right, you were raised as a child to be what? You guys know the answer?
So a warrior, at least part of your life was to be
a warrior.
soldier.
Thank you, exactly, a warrior. So most the original Olympic Games were based off warriors things like the javelin was the spear. You threw it. Running, you're chasing your enemies or trying to get away. Most times running from an enemy, so it was cowardly move.
Right.
And so when wrestling was another Roman Greco wrestling was a technique that teach you. So I felt the the Olympic Games were more about who were the better soldiers, the better athletes back then. That's how I always looked at it. If you guys disagree, that's fine. You could disagree with it all you want.
Well, I would ask the veteran, since you were in the service and whatnot, in terms of military training, what you were taught as far as being a quote unquote soldier versus that of a Spartan, who again may have started learning that stuff when he was very young and brought up to be a soldier. He may not have had a long life, but compare that to basic training or the training that was there, especially for the elite forces. So if you want to talk about the Spartans being elite, you got to compare apples to apples. So you're gonna have to go into special forces then, right?
Definitely.
Navy SEAL, Army Special Forces, Green Berets. And if you're gonna ask me to compare one of those guys to an ancient fighter from the Spartans, and if you gave them equal weapons, just give them a sword or spear, whatever you fought with back then, I would probably give the ancient guy an edge because, again, in terms of weaponry, if he's trained with that weapon all his life and you got the Navy SEAL never trained with that wouldn't be equal. But in terms of just fitness level of the person involved, I'm still going to pick the modern soldier to just be physically superior to the ancient one. The only difference is just going to be the skill level in which, if you're talking about just hand to hand, I'm still taking the modern guy. If you take weapons out of it, then if you include weapons, then it's going to be on what weapons you're going to be using. And to my understand,
before I think
you're not using swords and stuff in training.
I want to read this really off because I did a little, GPT chat thing. So they're saying the top athletes / elite ancient warriors were trained from birth, extreme physical conditions, combat training, pain tolerance, discipline, and observations and survivor skills. I just want to bring that out really fast. But I do know the current military teaches you a form of MMA, mixed martial arts, but self-defense base. If I'm wrong, Anton, please jump in anytime. Cut me off anytime.
No. Actually, what they do is now what they're doing with the hand-to-hand combat, like when you go through basic training, no matter what branch, they're going to give you the basic fundamentals. Now what they're doing with a lot of these groups, they're taking things like Muay Thai, they're taking judo, they're taking a little bit of wrestling and including into their hand-to-hand combat. They're doing a little bit of Taekwondo as well, or Krav Maga. Basically, a little bit of grappling, how to punch and the kick and everything else, especially if you're going to be situations when you're in a room, you don't have your weapon. And that's been going on now within the last maybe 20 plus years. I think Mandrell will be
going on for a while. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
So
I think
it depends on the on what's your MO. You may get into also Was it CQB? Am I saying that right? Close quarter
CQB,
cornerback.
yeah,
Am I saying?
yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that
Close
right.
quarter
And
battle. Yeah.
that's a skill alone, bro. That's a fucking
It
skill,
is.
dude.
It is. Room clearing is not that easy as people think. Like people
No.
look at it and think, they look at Call of Duty, they look at some movies and everything else and think, oh, it's that simple. No, it's not. Because it's you and the individuals in your squad. All y'all have to be focused. All y'all have to be on the same level. And the one thing that always plays a factor is muscle awareness. Because when you move it behind a person and everything else, when you go behind that person, you got to remember to either take that weapon and either bring it up, that barrel up, or down. Because the last thing you want to do is accidentally shoot your teammate in the back because you weren't paying attention. So it's always the little things that matter.
You know, I'm so surprised over the years, bro. And I had this conversation. If I knew science very well, this is gonna be one of my go-to projects. I'll make up like a sensor or a laser. If it sensors like it sensor you, so it doesn't hit friendly enemy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I get it. Like a smart
So
weapon.
pretty much a smart weapon. Like I'm surprised they haven't designed something like that. So friendly fire doesn't happen. If friendly fire happens more often than I think. Am I correct on that?
It does, unfortunately. It does. But like one of the stories I've always heard about with some guys in special ops, when they train on this, they actually use live rounds. So they're
Mhm.
already know and aware because if you've been doing it repetitiously, you already know what mistakes you already know you're not gonna make stupid mistakes like that. So training with live rounds, it's almost like it gives them that confidence of you know what you're doing, you know the job, don't make it more than it has to be. And I think when you do it repetitively over time, you're already aware of that. Even when you're training and you don't have rounds in your weapon, you still treat that weapon as if there's live rounds in it. That way you don't never get complacent. Plain and simple. That's the one thing people don't realize. It's discipline. And people don't realize the importance of that when it comes to training. Staying focused, staying on task, making sure you meet the standard, and once you exceed the standard, you raise the bar and you work a little bit harder. And a lot of groups do that. And I think that when it comes to a lot of the training, just like what Mr. Bennett was saying, Rangers, SF, SEALs, PJs, Raiders, all these groups have you know, their own workouts on what they have to do. And most of the times when you see these guys, they're not bulky. Most of the guys will be like 6'1", 6'2", 175, 180. Lanky. They're tall and they're lanky, especially Rangers. Tall and lanky. Why? Because they're built for endurance. They're built for stamina. They're built to walk long distances without getting tired. Things like that. That's what these guys are made to do. And when you're going through the schools, you're building your body up to handle it. That doesn't happen overnight. Like I remember when I first went to basic training, and the first it was definitely a challenge, especially with the things our drill sergeants were putting us through. But what also happened was it was building our bodies up. It was kind of like in a way tenderizing it. You'll learn to build that endurance. You'll learn to build stamina. You'll learn to build strength. You'll learn to build speed. You'll learn to build your body better than it was when you first came in.
Mhm.
And that becomes a force. That can become a force of habit. And over time, what happens is while you're still in whatever branch you're in, it's all about maintaining it and exceeding the standards that we have to meet when it comes to physical fitness. All those other groups, their standards are it's ridiculous. It
Dude,
takes
the
you
only
a
thing I don't
whole
understand
level.
about what you're saying, Anton, you're talking about building your endurance and your strength. More times than not, I see those are opposite goals. Like typically, just look at a track and field athlete, right? An endurance runner is typically not very strong
Right.
compared to that of a sprinter. So how can you maintain? And I get it, the idea that you have to move for long distances a lot of times on foot, but when it comes to hand, at some point, or if you have to do something that's physically that requires a lot of strength, if you are that lean and lanky, then I'm thinking, where's that strength coming from? You know what I'm saying? To me, it's almost like it's opposite goals. And I've even listening to podcasts. So I was talking to this one guy because I know they're starting to incorporate more strength training into this, like squats, deadlifts, the basic lifts.
Right.
Because again, for a lot of these guys, you're not having, even though you're still trained old school to be able to run or walk distances, the fact that you have superior transport, more than likely, what is your chance that you're going to have to do that, or when at any given time you're going to have to be able to exert strength explosively in a given moment, especially if you're talking about in a combat hand-to-hand type of situation. So I don't know if it's almost like boxing, right? I mean, it's like, yeah, guys will run miles and miles, but is that at the end of the day, is that really going to help you in your fight at the end of the day? I mean, so I'm always interested in how they're able to balance, because typically the more endurance you have, the leaner you have to be, because again, the body's not designed to carry a lot of muscle and have endurance at the same time. But if we're going to have to go to blows, the good big man always beats the good small man, or the stronger good man is going to beat the weaker good man. So it seems like to me that's a price that is being paid. But I have seen where they're starting to introduce more. It's like, yeah, we can't just do endurance all the time. We got to do some deadlifts. We got to do some bench. We got to do some squats, because you got to build up that, you got to build up that muscle tone. So it's almost like they're kind of, trying to do a reset on how they're training these soldiers now, because, because I know just me personally, being strong helps me more on a daily basis than almost anything else. I'm not ever in a position where I have to walk 5 miles ever. But if I'm in the house, it's like, hey, can you move the couch or whatever? It's like, yeah, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? So
if I took you that's always one day, bro, you'd be working over 10 miles in one day.
I'm saying even if I did, I mean, I could, but I'm saying it's not, because I told you a few weeks I went on a 6 mile walk.
I agree what you're saying,
guys.
Paul.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm going to push back a little bit is you said the stronger guy is always going to beat the weaker guy.
I said the good, stronger guy is always going to beat the good, weaker guy. Just like the good, bigger guy is going to beat the good, smaller guy. So you talk about skill sets are equal. Skill sets are equal. So I don't want to hear Bruce Lee versus.
Yeah, that will make sense.
Because everyone wants to go to that, right? But no, he was beyond good. Okay. But now, but
that makes sense. If you have an equal, okay. My pushback was going to be, and again, it doesn't count what you were saying. If one person, it could be a little smarter fighter, like except he comes around like say uppercut, I can go down from his calves or take his kneecap out or something like that. I'm using examples, of course.
But that's available to both fighters. I'm just saying, if you get into grappling, if you get into wrestling, you get somebody on the ground, just body weight, right? I mean, those are things that even for a small guy, you can't overcome that, especially if the guy knows not only he's going to put his body weight on you, but he also has the technique to keep you pinned there. We have wrestling divisions for a reason.
Usually the smaller guys are a little better in the judo and grappling area. Usually, not always.
Right.
Because I seen one of my instructors is Sensei Shiro. He was shorter than me and stockier than me. He was almost like 210, I want to say, almost.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to flip me like a rag doll. I'm like, how the fuck are you flipping me around?
One of my favorite documentaries, Anton, I don't know if you ever saw it. It's called Fighting Black Kings. It came out in 1975.
No, I haven't seen it, but I remember a co-worker of mine.
Shinkai karate tournament in Japan. And it was totally open. There were no weight classes, any style that you wanted, full contact. I mean, if you watch it, dudes get knocked out left and right and center. And at the end of the day, it was typically the bigger guys usually dominated. Not all. It wasn't like all the winners were but the guy who won it eventually, he was simply bigger than the guy who he fought at the end. So I mean, obviously the smaller guy had to beat a lot of bigger guys to get there.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you got the two of Japan's best, and they're both Japanese guys. The bigger guy won at the end because, again, the guy, what he was doing with the guy, he couldn't move him. You know what I'm saying? And the guy was just the guy who won. He was just thick, and the kicks and punches just wasn't doing anything to him really. So
Oh wow.
yeah. But Peter, I did
No,
want
I'll
to
give you
show something.
another example of that.
Yeah.
Before you go, Paul. A guy named
Yeah.
look up Master VEE. Literally like that. His school is still taught in Brooklyn, New York, by a different instructor. Now he has passed, unfortunately. In 1999, he passed. This guy was 4'2", no 5'2". He's a short guy,
Wow.
about maybe 120 pounds. And I remember you have to look deeply on YouTube to find this video. And I gotta look for it. He put money down.
Professor V?
Anybody can take me down.
Master V.
Professor V. You found
Yeah,
it?
1910 to
Yes.
1999. Was this okay?
Yeah. Yep. That's him. In Master
Okay,
V.
I'll check him out.
Yeah, he's scrawny as hell. Man, he used to take some big guys down. I mean, like 6'2" kind of guys, like
Right.
300 pounds. I'm like, how the hell? Like,
But that's why I'm
just
qualifying
intimidated.
it. I'm not saying it's not about size. I agree with
Yeah.
that. But again, the caveat, if you combine size with skill, that's hard to that's hard to
Oh,
yeah,
that
that's why again,
obviously.
boxing, you have boxing weight classes for a reason, you have wrestling weight classes for a reason.
Right.
And I just think that I don't care how Sugar Ray Robinson, as I talked about earlier, you take him, you take Sugar Ray Leonard, they ain't beating Mike Tyson. It's just not happening.
That's true.
It's just they may run for a while, but I mean, you're not because you
Both Leonard and Robinson had great feet, but
you're not.
Tyson had a good
look,
amount of power. He had power.
Yeah.
Look at the example. They have Master Ray, my instructor, Master Ip, Master V, and one who dedicate their lives happen so pretty often. How many people are you going to dedicate from the day they were pretty much teenagers all the way to the day past that dedicated to the crafts? That's rare. It's going to happen. I'm not talking about cooking. I'm not talking about computers. I'm talking about hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff. You don't have that too often. You don't get an Ip every day. You don't get a V every day, or a Master Ray, or a Bruce Lee. You don't get those guys on a daily basis.
It's like generational, like
yeah.
You can't create them. They're like forged. It's like you dig them up like
Absolutely.
diamonds.
Exactly.
You just can't do that. But I did want to show one thing though, because you were talking about the diets of some of these ancient athletes. I did see here. I don't know if you guys can see this. So again, this was an abstract from a journal from 1997. So again, from Olympia to Atlanta, cultural, historical perspective and diet and training. So it talks about the ancient Greeks and Romans. So the Greeks and Romans describe diet and training in Olympic athletes. Lucian from AD 120 to 180 described distance and speed work in runners. Galen 130 to 201 recommended ball-related exercise to train vision in the body. Philostratos 170 to 249 suggested cross training and endurance, running, weight training, and wrestling while animals. The ancient Greek training system, or the tetrad, was a 4-day cycle, each day devoted to a different activity. Diogenes wrote that athletes trained on dried figs, moist cheese, and wheat. Then the pattern changed to focus on meat. And then it goes on to the modern games. So I'm just saying that the whole, even then there was like an evolution, right? Like the athletes, when they started eating meat, when they got here, like these athletes were going to be better than the ones who were just eating figs and meat and cheese because they realized, probably meat's better for you. Or like the training system that was defined here was going to be better than the athletes that started out with initially. So it's like even then there was like an evolution.
You're right.
Yeah, so even then I'm saying there's an evolution in the training even back then where you can't even compare athletes maybe from that time 30 or 50 years earlier to the ones that are there, because again, it kept evolving and they kept doing things to improve their performance even back then. So imagine that evolution continuing. So you could have asked your same question amongst the ancient Greeks, the ones that were in the 120s versus the one in the 220s. The 220s are probably beating the ones in the 120s because their method of training changed, their diet changed to add more meat to the diet, and so on and so forth. So even then, there was a dramatic difference in the athlete. So you don't even have to compare to today. Look at the guys back then.
You know, ironically, a lot of those old techniques are still used to this day, like the ball training. Hockey goalies will take a tennis ball and bounce it off a wall just to make sure just to test their reflexes.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Another thing that a lot of hockey players are now doing is they'll gather around and kick a soccer ball around. Like they'll gather in a circle and kick a soccer ball around to work with their hand-eye coordination and their dexterity.
Right. Anton, you ever see this training vid? It's on YouTube. It's this I don't know if he's Russian, but it's goalie. And he had like the craziest training system ever. Like he would do these like in a squatting position and do these side to side thrusts. He would jump up, like go up and down these stairs. I mean, just ridiculous type of training. But his legs were like ridiculous, incredibly massive. But it was like he was like, I gotta send you the video of that. But apparently he's like a famous Russian or Slavic goalie. But it was just insane. Like he was doing stuff like nobody was doing, and I don't think a lot of people could do. It's like because I think a couple of hockey players tried to do the same thing. I think even Gretzky tried to do something with him, and he couldn't do the moves. It's like, let me show you how to. But it's like he's in a squatter position, and he's just doing these side stretch out this leg, stretch out this leg, just like when you got to, the puck is coming in and you kick out to the side to block the. So, but he just did this thing. It was just like this. And it was like to him, it was like a dance, but nobody can. But he's squatting as low as possible as he's doing it. He's just like, he's like this. I mean, just crazy training, but it was all him. Like I don't think you could replicate. Maybe his body type was such. I don't think you could just train people.
And how long ago was this?
This was probably in the 70s or 80s.
Okay, that sounds like the time of there's one particular Russian goalie named Vladislav Trekiak. And he was like the icon of Russian goalies. One of the best goalies that ever played the game to never play in the NHL. And I know like a lot of Russian-born goaltenders, looked up to him. Guys that played back in the day, guys like Nikolai Khabibulin looked up to him. And even the ones who are playing now, like Sergei Broflovsky, Igor Shesterkin, Andrei Vasilevsky, a lot of those guys have all looked up and admired those guys because of their technique, because of how they trained and everything else. And at that time, back in the 70s and 80s, these guys were members of the Central Red Army. So it was basically you in military service, but at the same time, you were training hockey all year round.
Yeah.
And you were able to condition your body to these exercises to where it translated to your performance on the ice. And that sounds like, what's up?
I have a question. Would you prefer to live back then, or would you prefer to live now?
Oh wow!
Would you prefer to live back in Greek times? What, hundreds of thousands of years ago was it? I don't know much about history. Or would you prefer the modern shit that we've got now? Personally, I thought they had it a lot easier back then than they have now. Actually, no, personally, the other way around.
Some things were easier, some things weren't. Some things were easier, some things weren't. Like, social media and all that stuff didn't exist, obviously. It was easier.
I just twist that around. Basically, what I was trying to say was, I personally think, yes, it was much better back then because you had to work bloody hard, a lot harder than you do nowadays. Mr. Carter. Do you agree?
No, I mean, me personally, I think, despite the craziness that's going on, certainly geopolitically and just, with the risk of everything, I think this is the best time in history to be a human being. I just do. When you talk about the war back then, you fought a lot of wars. A lot of those wars were bloody, and the casualties were just in the insane numbers. If you didn't have wars, you had famine, and you had diseases that now you basically just get a shot for, and you don't get them. But um, I mean, people, I just think that overall, I would take this. Yes, I got the threat of nuclear. The nuclear thing is an issue. Certainly. That they obviously didn't have, but again, people were taking whole communities, tens of thousands, 100,000 people just laid out. I mean, even in this country, I mean, the Civil War. I mean, what, 50,000? I mean, how many people died in the Civil War? I mean, just bodies just laid up. I mean, I just think that I think I truly believe this is the best time to be a human being. The
I don't
resources
think
that you
so.
have, the access that you have, the
I
general state of health
I don't
that
think
people
so.
have. I'm not saying it's perfect, and certainly in certain areas where it could be improved, but nah, I'll take this time over, I think, any time in history.
I'm sorry. I prefer the past because you wouldn't have these modern distractions. You don't have people on flaming steroids, drugs, that sort of thing, right? You have to physically get up in the morning to do something. Nowadays, you've got 90% of the population that are bloody lazy. Yeah. Um, you have to physically go out to work. You have to physically go and get your own food. Go out, literally pick it, graft to go and get your own food. Physically do stuff. Nowadays, you can literally just pick up your phone and order it online.
I see what you mean. Plus,
No,
also, I
but
think the
no,
one
but no,
thing,
but here's the thing, Craig. You can still do that if you want to. You can decide to move to the country or move to a very rural area off the grid, find an island somewhere and live off the grid. Anybody has that choice. I hate when people says, "Oh, well, we have to do things this way." No, you do have people who live. You have the Amish. You
Oh, I
have
totally agree.
people who
I totally agree.
live off the grid
But
by
things
choice.
were a lot less polluted back then. Everything's more polluted. The whole world is more polluted than it was 1,000 years ago.
Maybe. But I mean, in terms of how's that going to impact you in the long run, I don't think it's going to affect you that much. If you want to live in a very remote place, you want to live in the mountains, you want to live in like I said, a rural or an island somewhere that has no technology, no research. Again, you gotta like you said, or hunt for everything and all those things. Humanity, you can still do that.
Yes, but from now till then, nowadays you have laws about different things. Back then, you didn't have any. You could hunt whatever you flaming like, any animal you like.
No, there were laws back
Nowadays,
then. If you don't tell me, I want to tell you one of your old stories. You're from your history, from your side of the world. If you killed the mayors or the governors, whatever, the king's deer that was called his deer, you get hanged for that back then.
really didn't know that. I actually didn't know that.
Where do you think the story from Robin Hood came from? That part of the story is true.
ah,
Like he wasn't a rich guy stealing from the poor. He was this guy who came from another country. He hunted the
Yeah,
wrong game. He killed the kings. Um, he wasn't a king. He was like something like under the king, pretty much.
the prince.
Uh, nah, no, even lower. The marshal kind of thing, like a mayor kind of thing.
Oh, you mean
I can't remember the
like
exact.
a? Well, he always had issues. The story of Robin Hood, he always had issues with the sheriff of Nottingham. I remember that.
Yeah, there you go. The sheriff. Yeah, the sheriff was under the kings and stuff like that at the time, and he hunted the wrong game, and they went after him for it. I'm like, yo, fuck you, dude. Like, this is you can't hunt this shit. Come here. You're
I
gonna chop
think
your hands off of this.
the one thing I think about food back then, a lot of it didn't have a lot of the additives and preservatives or the steroids that are being
Hmm.
put into a lot of the into some of the animals that we have now. Like you got some farms. I'm not saying every farm. You have a few farms that are putting steroids into the chickens to just so they can weigh a little bit more, just so they can make a little bit more money. You got them putting steroids into the cows, and their milk is have those additives as well, just so they can make a little more money. Little things like that, or that cow is big enough for better steaks, or those pigs for ham. It's like you have some that are finding little ways to make their game, to make their livestock. Bless you.
Sorry.
All
Sorry about
right,
that.
you should be done.
Brother.
You got 3. You should be good, right?
I'm good. Mhm.
All right, but you have some farmers who will find ways to add a few more ounces or a few more pounds to the livestock just so they can get a few more cents or a few more dollars. And they're pumping them with steroids and everything else, and they're pumping them with all these
It's
other
funny
things.
you
And
said
it's like,
this. It's funny you said this. So, what was it yesterday or the day before? We were cooking chicken at work, actually. I think it was yesterday,
Okay.
actually. Yeah, it was last night. So, me and my chef were working, whatever. We're doing our thing. And I looked at the chicken. The drumstick was this goddamn big. I put it down on a scale. It was like close to 11 and a half pounds.
whoa.
I looked at him. Did you give me chicken or did you give me tobacco bones here, bro? They were humongous.
Wow.
And you know for a fact that is 99.9% steroids. And I might be talking out of my ass, and Paul might be disagreeing. I think the one reason we have such a big problem with obesity in this world, in this country, and this world is because a lot of food has a lot of steroids. You might disagree, Paul, and it's fine if you do.
Mhm.
And this is my personal
I think
opinion.
it's a combination of things. I think it certainly is
Okay.
a lack of activity.
I'll
I
give
think
you that.
it's
Yeah, of
certainly-
course.
Yeah, certainly
Yeah.
processed foods. I think it's certainly a factor. So yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's multifaceted. Lack of, I mean, we went from an agrarian to an industrial to an information, and now a social media type of society. And so, I mean, again, the average day back then. So again, back to Craig's point, do you want to work 16 hours a day? Because that's what your work day was, 6 days a week.
I do that anyway.
Went to church on Sunday. No, I said, I mean, work like in the fields or in the plant or whatever, trying to make overtime or whatever, because you had a bunch of mouths to feed at home. So again, I think just that kind of work, even moms, I mean, they didn't have it easy. I mean, cleaning the house, you did your laundry by hand, you had the scrub board and all those things. So again, you couldn't afford to get fat because you had, you were just doing all that activity sun up to sundown. So again, I think that's a big, I think that's a big factor in it. But again, I think the foods, especially hydrogenated oils, high fructose corn syrup, I think it changes how food metabolizes in the body. And again, a diet that's mostly of carbohydrates. And I think, and not even the good ones, not even the fibrous ones. We're talking about the starchy carbohydrates. So I think, even the food, because again, the meat thing, no one has convinced me yet that even if the meat has hormones in it, if you had a mostly sort of keto or carnivore type of diet, you're not going to get really fat from that. Because again, fat storage is usually coming from carbohydrates. And when you combine that with fats, you form triglycerides, and that's what sticks in your body. And so again, you remove the starchy carbs, all right? You release the triglycerides, and you typically lose weight from that. So I even with the meat thing, even if I was to buy into some of it, no one can still tell me, again, human beings, are we living longer than we were 200 years ago? And I would say yes. And a lot of that has to do with certainly medicine and lifestyle changes. But as far as the diet aspect of it, no one has really convinced me yet that, okay, well, the meat, whether it be store-bought. And now, again, if you can afford to eat organic, and that's another thing, and you've even said yourself, Pete, that organic is a myth.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not denying that one bit.
So again, but people are willing to pay twice as much money for organic meats and organic vegetables and whatnot. You're really not getting a ton of health benefit out of it. And at the end of the day, how as far as your quality of life, are you going to be adding that many more years of your life by eating organic versus processed or factory farming or whatever? I haven't seen anything that's convincing of that yet, especially if
that's
you
a
are
good question, Paul.
exercising regularly, especially if you are getting rest and all the other factors that that a person needs to do to maintain health. I'm not seeing anything that's marginal where a person has, okay, I got to do this total change and I got to start eating organic and I got to start doing this, or I got to cut out everything and go total vegan and eat grass and green smoothies every day. I mean,
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm not seeing that there either. Nor do I believe in intermittent fasting. All it is at the end of the day, intermittent fasting is caloric restriction. You eat within a window, usually a 6 or 8 hour window. By natural, unless you're just stuffing yourself from start to finish, you're not going to eat as much food in that period of time. Again, naturally, you're going to lose weight or whatever the benefits are because of that. Now, do I believe in some fasting? Sure, especially like I fasted. So I train in the morning, and I don't like even back in the day, especially you read the bodybuilding magazines. You say, okay, well, eat a pre-workout meal 30 minutes before you hit the gym. It's like, no, it slows me down. I want to be hangry when I work out. Hangry, like I'm hungry, but I got to in, and I'm gonna take out my anger on the weights and everything. Now, when I'm done, now we can go just like I showed last week in my Facebook. We went to this diner. Off the chain. They had grits. I got my meat omelet grits. We had the French toast. I mean, yeah, I killed it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What the hell is grits?
It's a wheat product. It's like a wheat hominy type of product. And it's like what you would maybe call porridge. It's it's that kind of thing. It's basically a hot or farina, or it's kind of in that family of these sort of hot.
It literally has no flavor to it.
Like curds and whey, something like that.
Yeah. So I'll put it this way. Dude,
well, definitely not curds and whey. That's dead. Okay. That's dirt. That's dead.
I don't do grits. That's why.
Yeah, like I said, if you've eaten oatmeal, it's kind of in that thing. It's a wheat product. Oatmeal.
They're not in the same category. They're not.
I'm just saying.
Really? Some people say they are.
No, I'm saying as far as a food type. I'm not saying they're in the same plant family. I'm saying you eat them similarly. It's hot served. Yeah, Quaker. Yes, it's hot served. It's you put butter or salt and pepper. Some people put honey in it. However you want to. It's a hot cereal.
Porridge over here.
Yeah, it's a hot cereal.
So all right, time out, guy. Time out. Let's just speak for a second here. Okay, so have no flavor to them. Straight up, if you just boil them and eat them, they're absolutely nasty. So versus the oatmeal, if you boil them and eat them, yeah, you have some flavor, some texture to it. So grits, they're very popular in the South, believe it or not. Yes. Like grits with butter, shrimp,
butter,
and
gravy.
sauce.
Yeah,
exactly. Thank you, Paul. So they're very
my
popular.
My wife likes it with butter and cheese, and I think
peppers. Yeah, put some pepper on there. Yeah,
pepper as well.
Yeah. So the best way to make them, the easiest way to make them too, to be honest with you guys, cheese and corn. Ooh. Very simple. Cheesy corn grits.
Yeah, that's actually like salt, pepper, butter, and cheese. That's how my wife.
Yeah. Exactly. That's very, very simple. Now, a lot of nursing homes, what they call super cereal. So what a super cereal is grits, high protein milk, powder milk, and protein powder is. It gives them the extra calories when people cannot keep weight on. That's what a super cereal is. So grits really absorb whatever you give them the body to give them it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. But it is a simple carb though. I mean, like a lot of bodybuilders, just like they eat oatmeal, grits, cream of wheat or farina. It's a simple carb.
Oatmeal, I will.
Oatmeal, yes. Farina, yes.
I used to throw oatmeal in my protein.
Grits,
my protein. I used to make my protein shake, and I used to throw a cup of oatmeal in it, raw oatmeal, and blend it up.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets a little too gritty for me though, but yeah.
It doesn't. If you have a good blender, a blender has everything to do with it. If you have a good blender, you would know the difference.
I have a Vitamix, so yeah, but
ninjas are better. I think ninjas are better personally.
Oatmeal,
from my personal experience.
Me, add a little peanut butter or some jelly or some honey or some syrup.
Yep.
Stick to your rib cage.
You guys wanted the best protein shake? Hear me out. All right. Get almond milk, unflavored. Okay. I usually like chocolate flavor powder, but chocolate flavor. 1 scoop of it has to be Fage yogurt, Greek yogurt. Is there?
I can't get in the yogurt.
Throw that in. Once you put it in this, you know what it is. 1 or 2 scoops of a high protein peanut butter.
Okay.
Then I have my oatmeal. I
Okay.
let it rip. I walk away sometimes and come back,
Really?
and it's money, bro. Money.
Quaker Oats, simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quaker Oats are a global company. It's one
Yeah.
of the best companies you can get.
Maple and brown sugar.
Very easy.
Maple and brown sugar or apples and cinnamon.
I got you.
Yeah, when I was growing up, I used to my mum used to buy a massive bag of porridge or oats, whatever you want to call it, cheap bag from Tesco's, and basically she'd boil it up with milk, right, and then stick a little bit of sugar and a load of jam on top of it. Literally, you'd have that for
Oh, wow.
that would last you till lunchtime when you're at school.
Wow.
I still do it in the. I still do
One
it in
thing
the
I
winter.
cannot do, I could never do cold oatmeal or reheated oatmeal. It just
Oh,
very rubbery.
Oh no.
Peter, I got it. Oh, my wife and I found this out with our daughter Avery. She doesn't like her oatmeal warmed up. Like if you just took the oatmeal, you poured it into the bowl, you added milk, you stirred it up, she's gonna eat it straight up. Don't warm it up.
Oh,
I think one time a relative of ours warmed it up and she was not happy. And we asked them, "Did you put an oatmeal in the microwave?" He's like, "Yeah." She doesn't like it like that. And he looked at me like, "Wait, what?" Yeah. Trust me, watch.
For a
oatmeal?
quick meal, if you're really hungry for a quick meal or whatever, I literally shove about 4 sachets of it in a bowl and then just fill it up with milk and then just whack it in the microwave for 2.5 minutes. Bang. And it was fine.
Yeah. But my daughter doesn't. My daughter, Avery, now, even still to this day, she makes oatmeal. She opens up the packet, puts milk, stirs it up. End of story. Straight up. Do not warm it up for her.
Nah.
Do not put it in the microwave. She'll eat it straight. Plain and
I would have
simple.
to have it warm, especially on a cold winter's day. And especially right now, it's cold.
I want some 60 ribs. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Porridge.
It's
Porridge. Oh God, let's see. You can have porridge.
So Peter, in Greece, so what do they use? I mean, is it porridge, oatmeal? Like what is common in Greece for breakfast or whatever? Out of those creamery,
honestly,
grits, porridge, whatever. What's the
yogurt. Yogurt.
Really?
Yeah, most people don't eat breakfast. A lot of Greeks skip breakfast. Breakfast is not a go-to meal. Coffee is. Coffee and cigarette. That's what their meal is in the morning. I'll be honest with you guys.
Really?
I'm not a bullshit. I'll be
Breakfast
straight
of
up. Yeah,
champions.
look it up. Yeah. So black coffee, ice. Or
Not even a
frappe,
bagel
iced
or
coffee.
something like.
Bagel's not a thing.
I mean, because you go to a coffee, like a Greek coffee shop or whatever. Yeah, obviously they're gonna have coffee, but I mean, bagel, cream cheese, some lox, something. That's not a common Greek option.
Coffee shops are more after. Paul, remember that. They're not a hangout that comes in the morning. You stop and get your coffee like you used to. Like, oh, you're going to you got your bag on you. You're going to work. Oh, I'm going to take a train up. I'm going to the coffee shop, get coffee, and go. It's not a thing like that in Greece. Coffee.
But I'm saying, what
It's
about in
down to
America?
social
Like a Greek American diner or restaurant in New York. Or,
Okay,
or
a morning
you going
cafe.
to work? What are you getting?
Ammonia cafe, great example.
Yeah, so you're getting just
What
coffee.
I
That's
would-
it.
Or
what the average person would
if
pick
I'm
up.
in a hurry, me
getting a roll?
personally, in like this, I know a Jersey thing, and so I better not get from both of you guys. I probably pick up a garlic or onion bagel with tell him egg and cheese with salt, pepper, ketchup.
Right.
That's my thing.
Right.
I like. That's a treat for me.
That's
actually.
fine. I'm saying
Try it with hot sauce. Try it with hot sauce. I'll do the same
you
thing.
guys
Usually
done
they
I'm
don't
not a
do
fan of hot
Philly.
sauce. Jalapeno cream cheese. That's what I would do. And I'm allergic to
Really?
jalapeno, so I'll eat
Jalapeno
that
shit?
shit. Yeah.
Wow, that's something
Can't eat
new.
spicy. Can't eat spicy.
Really?
The what?
I literally can't eat any spice.
Tell him,
Oh, that sucks,
man.
man.
Craig,
You have a hard
you
time
love
here
it.
because a lot of things of food is spicy here. A lot of food is spicy.
Yeah.
Here.
The reason I can't eat a lot of spice, I can't eat any spicy food, is because I've got no lining in my stomach.
Ooh.
My own fault.
Ooh. Really?
So drinking the soda ate up your lining, so you can't eat the spicy
So,
food.
Paul, I was drinking. This is 2 liters.
Yes. How long
Right.
did that last you in a day?
Hold on. I was drinking. This was about 6, 7 or 8 years ago now. Right. I actually physically had to go to hospital for not eating for 2 weeks and just drinking this. Right. I was drinking 2 liters of this, 6 bottles a day. Yeah. Through depression. Right. I was drinking 6 bottles of this a day. I would go out and I'd buy a massive crate of it, bring it home, and it'd be gone within a few hours.
You better drinking Guinness Black, man. Damn.
Yeah?
Wow.
I physically made myself ill. I almost died because of it.
Whoa.
So what you said depressed, so you were addicted to it, or it was just
I wasn't addicted. I was depressed.
You were in a real serious depression.
how much
Yeah.
did you weigh then?
Whoa.
Hey?
How much did you weigh then?
I went down to around about 10 stone. And I currently weigh about 13 and a half, 14 stone.
So wait a minute.
Damn
So you were drinking all that and you didn't gain any weight?
Nope.
That's rare.
You
'Cause
lucky
that's
bastard.
just like that. What's in that? Is that they use sugar or high fructose in that?
Pardon?
High
Are they
sugar.
using sugar? What's the sweetener with? Sugar, high fructose corn syrup? What's the sweetener?
I have no idea.
high
on
sugar?
there, just
I'm
read
telling
it.
you, Paul.
It's going to be the first ingredient. It's either going to be cane sugar or high fructose corn syrup.
Just said sugar and sweetness.
Yeah, sugar. Yeah.
No,
No,
like
it's
I
both.
said, it's sugar. Like I told you, Europe you use
It's
mostly
both.
sugar.
Oh,
High toast
Yeah, I think
sugar.
it's isn't high fructose banned in Europe or something?
I
like
think so. I'm not even saying it's
Yeah.
sure. but
Oh
I'm pretty
yeah,
sure it
like the
is.
EU really bans a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, Craig, you said you weighed 14 stone?
I weigh about between 13 and a half and 14 stone.
14 stones, just under 200 pounds. That's
Yeah.
100. That's
I'm
196
saying, but when
pounds
he was
here.
drinking all that soda, 2-liter bottles a day, he was only 10 stone. So again, he gained very little weight from drinking all that, even with the sugar, which is amazing to me. That your
God.
metabolism must have been still very fast.
What
And
happened
not
was
to
me
blow up
drinking
from
that
drinking
stuff
all
there actually ruined my teeth.
Oh, well, that I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just
Literally
saying,
ruined my
but
teeth.
as far as the weight
I literally
gain,
have no
you didn't-
teeth
Yeah.
at all. because
Wow.
of it.
Damn.
Wow.
You eat purees?
Pardon?
How do you eat puree food?
No, I still eat normal food.
Wow.
And that happened while you drinking too much coffee? Your teeth?
The acid.
Drinking that, smoking, drinking coffee. Oh shit.
Wow. That's. Ooh.
That sucks.
As I said, I go through a depression stage where I physically don't look after myself. Yeah, my mental health gets so deteriorated. I don't bath. I don't shower. I don't look after my teeth. I don't look after nothing.
Oh, I never fell into a depression like that. I've never fallen into a depression like that. That's wow.
I take my depression out. I take my depression out myself because of it.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. How'd you get out of that routine? Like, what was it that got you out of that routine?
Huh.
That's wow. That's heavy, bro. Seriously, that's heavy.
I personally never have got to the point like I got depressed to the point like I'm not taking care of myself. I might slack on it, yeah, I'll give you that, but not to the point like my teeth are rotting out from being so bad. No offense, Greg.
My teeth are completely rotten, mate. They're literally all you can see is black spots in my mouth. If you were literally right here.
That's right. They don't use fluoride in the UK. Their toothpaste don't contain fluoride.
Mhm.
That's right. I forgot about that. Damn.
There's a lot of things that
I
we
can-
use, they don't.
Yeah, fluoride is one of them. They don't use fluoride in toothpaste. They don't use fluoride to help filter their water.
I've been trying to shove all types of things in for filters and stuff like that, but my
Really?
landlord won't allow me to do jack shit. So,
Wow.
because there's a special thing you can buy, but it means you have to shut off the water to the flat or to the building to do it,
Okay.
right? And it's a filter to get rid of carbon, and you can replace it once every 10 to 12 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's literally only about a centimeter thick, right, by a few inches long.
Uh-huh.
Like, you literally just attach it to copper piping that's the main feed into the building.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've tried to get all types of things. When I was living in a flat across the hall from me now, that I'm living in now, my old flat across the hall.
Right.
Underneath the sink, there was a big, massive amount of wasted space. Right. And what I wanted to do was put a couple of instead of having a boiler heater, I just wanted a tap that I could have a few filters, massive tank filters on it,
Right.
and be able to literally switch it over to boiling hot water, and I could boil my coffee off of it. Yeah, and have proper, decent filtered water instead of having to buy these Brillo filter bullshit that you can buy, and they're expensive. You have to replace them every 3 months. It's horrible, and they're expensive.
Oh wow!
So we have a lot of sand in our water. Yeah, when you wash your clothes, a lot of the times in our clothes, when we wash them, pure white clothes, you'd see little like orangey stains on them from where the sand's actually stained your clothes.
Damn. And what's the reason for the UK to ban fluoride? Well, like how long ago did they ban it?
I don't know, mate. I don't follow politics anymore. I don't follow any of that.
Okay.
Anymore. I don't understand it. But it's like you guys love your filters and stuff like that in certain areas of America, didn't you? You have to have filters in your area, didn't you?
Yeah, rusty pipes, for sure. Lead pipes.
Yeah,
so.
lead pipes.
Yeah. We've got this building's what?
Yeah, I always have when I rented a house. I rent an apartment now. When I rented a house or a place, I always tell them, listen, I'm gonna put filtration system in it, and they usually are pretty cool with it because I'm actually increasing volume in their house anyway. So as long as they don't pay, I don't give a shit really. But I think you need it no matter what. Personally,
I would love to have
that's my personal opinion.
It's like electrical systems nowadays. Yeah, over here we get a lot of power cuts and a lot of power and wipe out our systems, right?
Uh-huh.
But what happens is half the time the surge plugs that you buy don't work. Yeah, even if you go for the expensive one, it jumps the whole thing and goes straight to your equipment. I suggested about putting in. A lot of electricians have suggested about putting it in and stuff like that. Putting a physical surge protector in your consumer unit, which a lot of people have, and I've been trying to get that. It's like because we don't have a lot of power surges around here or power cuts. I think that's a load of rubbish because we've had like fucking 4 in the last 3 months.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right, I think we're gonna call it early night tonight, guys. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Before we go, entire question for you: the
What's
Rangers
up?
and Flyers are playing this week coming up. Who do you think is gonna win that game?
Actually, they're on the Olympic break right now.
Yeah. U.S. In fact, men's they start on the 12th.
Yeah, they start up. Yeah,
Ladies, actually, I was going to bring that.
the
I was
next
going to
game.
bring that up on the Wednesday show tomorrow. Ladies 4-0 start, looking pretty dominant so far. So,
well, one of the issues that happened right before with the women's tournament was the fact that 13 members of Finland's women's hockey team end up getting mono. They end up getting sick right before the start of the games, and they were supposed to play their opening game against Canada, and they got postponed because not only because of the 13 players that got mono, but they didn't want the other remaining 10 players and the coaching staff to get affected. So they had to wait until the players were cleared and recovered in order for them to play. And I remember once they went through that period of recovering, their first game was against the U.S. So even though they had to jump into it real quick because they were sick, at the same time, it gave Canada a little bit of an extra day or two to relax. But at the same time, near the end of group play, they got to play a little more games. So they're not going to have the same amount of rest time like the rest of the teams. And honestly, the U.S. have a very good squad. Like, I looked at a lot of their players and everything else. They practically have the same players coming back. Another thing that definitely helped the U.S. is they end up playing a rivalry series, a 4-game series against Canada, and they won all 4 games. They played 2 games in the States, 2 games in Canada, and they won all 4 of those games.
Yeah, but they just beat Canada now, like 5-0 tonight or last night. They beat them again, so they're just running away with
Yeah,
it.
because they're in the same group. That's why.
Yeah.
They're in the same
Oh,
group.
yeah. Oh, and by the way, that guy that goalie, Vladislav Trejek.
Vladislav Chukiak.
Yeah, that's the guy who's got the crazy
Yeah.
training. I put a couple links in the chat.
Yeah,
in a private chat.
I've watched highlights of him when he was playing, and it was like it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
And the fact that he never got just to play in the NHL, you know,
Cuban boxing, Teofilo Stevenson.
That's right. I remember that.
That would have been him versus Ali in the 70s. That would have been a great fight.
I heard the stories about him. Also,
never would have came off. Yeah. But his he was doing something. He tried to get Gretzky to do it. Gretzky was like, "Ain't."
But a lot of Russian-born goalies, like I was saying, like a lot of Russian-born goalies, especially this generation of goalies after the Soviet Union fell, you know, looked up to them, and they still use a lot of those techniques. And they use a lot of those techniques in their training for a lot of young goaltenders, like especially those that come through the junior system and everything else. You know, a lot of them are using those techniques, you know, to build their leg strength and to build their length strength. Unfortunately, right now, because of the current situation, Russia's not in this year's Olympics in ice hockey, you know, as well as Belarus. But, you know, I hate the fact that Russia's not in the tournament because when you look at the good number of Russian players, like Alexander Ovechkin, like Evgeny Malkin, like Vasilevsky, and all those guys, this would have probably been their swan song playing, playing for their team in the Olympics, and they don't have that opportunity to do it, and it sucks. And a lot of people don't realize they're banned, not just in hockey, but in basically all competitions.
They were no-show last Olympics. Also, I think they were banned.
All that. Well, actually, technically, they weren't banned, and
but then they had that united team or unified team or something like that.
It was called the OAR, the Olympic Athletes from Russia, and that was because they had too many doping issues. A lot of their athletes were doping almost to the levels as in the old East German teams from the 80s. That's how serious it was. And WADA, the governing body of doping, was getting tired of it to where they literally recommended, like, these guys should not compete anymore. Russia was angry. It went up in front of the CAS, the Center for Arbitration, the Court for Arbitration of Sport. They're literally like the governing body of all international competitions. So when it went in front of them, CAS and favored WADA, saying, you got to clean yourself up. If you don't clean up your act, if you don't get this handled, y'all not competing anymore. So basically, it was a blanket ban across all their sports. Hockey, soccer, track and field, tennis, like all their athletes, that any athlete that was doping can't compete. Any Russian athlete that was clean was allowed to compete. Then, of course, the current situation, I don't want you to get flagged, Peter. That situation is why they also still can't, is still why that ban is still in place.
I got you.
So, unfortunately, because of that, that's why Russia's not going to be able to take part in a lot of sports across the board for a period of time, because I don't see the current individual in charge changing his mind about what's currently going on and telling the doping agency to clean this up. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But now, ironically, one of the things that I actually saw, and there was an article, and people were saying, well, if Russia is banned because of their situation, here are 4 countries that need to be banned as well. And the 4 countries that were named were North Korea, Iran, Israel, and the United States.
Why the States?
Say again? Well, what happened
why the
in
States? I don't understand why we.
Because the situation that happened in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Okay, now that makes sense. So,
and I'm surprised China.
I don't want to get too political.
Part of that also. Yeah.
I don't want to get pretty political.
I'm not trying to go there, but I'm not trying to get into that.
No. Let me hear me out first. No. I understand that. I was gonna say was I feel bad for the athletes.
I do.
More than anybody, because they put so much time and effort, training, and they invested their own money, and now they're pretty much can't do anything about it. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's all.
It really does, and it's not fair to a lot of those athletes. You would think these bans are put in because those athletes will try to convince the powers that be, get it together, because it's not fair to us.
Yeah.
Now there's rumor of FIFA reinstating Russia. That's the one rumor that's going around. The IIHF already decided that Russia not only is ineligible for this year's competitions, but they're also ineligible for next year's competitions. Then they said, "Oh, we'll make a decision when we feel the time is right." Well, who knows what's going to happen there? So, I want a lot of these athletes who have nothing to do with any of this stuff to compete in their respective sports. They deserve an opportunity. For a lot of these older athletes, they deserve an opportunity to say thank you to their fans, whether on home soil or anywhere else, and they're being cheated of that. But also, I feel like a lot of these younger athletes who have nothing to do with any of this are being robbed of opportunities in their prime to go out there and show what they can do, whether it's hockey or soccer or tennis or track and field, what have you. And I'm just going to land on that.
I got you. But let me just ask you guys one final question, though. Don't you miss when the Olympics was a geopolitical national event? I kind of listen, I'm all for world peace and all that kind of stuff, but I don't think you will never have a moment like 1980, USA Hockey beat the Russians. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. That was such a galvanizing event when it was the Olympics was this sort of geopolitical theater. It was the U.S. versus the Russians. It was this versus that. Now you got athletes just like, oh, I'll decide to run for this country because I couldn't qualify for my team, so I'm just going to run for their team now. It's almost like, where is that some of that nationalism stuff? I mean, I got to admit, I mean, back then when it was Team USA versus a what was deemed as a Cold War adversary or something like
Soviet
that.
Union.
Yeah, it made it was just much more exciting to watch. I still get, amped, especially Team USA versus Canada, because that's just rivalry more, but it's more like it's like Celtics versus Lakers now, more so than like US versus Canada. But back then you had such a tension, and the thing is like, I would rather you guys fight the war on the ice than fight it for real. It's like
honestly,
Rocky said to Drago after the fight. It's like,
right.
I'd rather let's kill each other and delete each other in here versus 20 million people dying in war or whatever. So I'm kind of like, I do miss some of that kind of nationalized when what it meant for your country when you won something. Now it's just everybody just gets endorsements or whatever, but you don't sense that pride is not what it was. I'm not saying it still doesn't exist to some extent, but in the 80s, like the Olympics was like, this is like it's just another level.
Say again?
Do you guys get into fights over sports and stuff like that over there?
No.
Like some places, but not. Some people do, but not like.
It's not.
Oh, we have it every year,
UK, bro.
No, not
you guys
England.
With the football,
UK,
with the football
England.
games out there, that's that. I wouldn't honestly, like, depending on the matchup. I don't know if I'd want to go. If you gave me tickets to go to like what about Manchester versus what's the big one out there?
City against United.
I don't know,
United. Bro. Liverpool against Everton.
When you coming out with the guards with the riot gear on, I mean, I'm like, this isn't. This is
pick a derby in England. All hell's gonna break loose. Liverpool, Everton, City and United, Tottenham and Arsenal. All hell's always gonna break loose with the fans. That's just how it is. There's two rules when it comes to the derby. One, never lose the derby, and two, never lose the derby at home. Yeah. Those are the two rules in soccer when it comes to the derby. Don't lose, and don't lose at home.
Well,
because you're gonna hear it.
All right, let's get into our final thoughts. All right, we were just going to say we end this early, but I guess not.
But yeah, we can. All
right, Greg, you want to go first or not? You have anything to say first of all, Greg?
I've got nothing to say, mate.
All right,
I don't know. You already know I don't know enough about history. So.
Like I said, as far as to getting back to the topic of the show.
Nope. That's okay. Yeah, I can switch it. There you
go.
All right. As to the topic of the show, all right, ancient athletes versus modern day athletes. As I showed in the last slide, even in the ancient realm, they were always looking to improve and get better. And I still think that process, for the most part, has continued. I just think that, again, technology, medicine, equipment, training methodology, diet has generally made, all things being equal, generally modern athletes still have an advantage over the ancient ones. But again, it's not at orders of magnitude. It's like, oh my gosh, they would get crushed. Now, I would say this. I think I did also post a link in the chat. Back then, the average Spartan was like 5'6" to 5'9" back then, which was considered to be very tall in that day. Obviously, again, a lot of the athletes, a lot of humanity, folks are taller. So, again, I think that, they would hold the advantage like anything else. I mean, if you train, if you do what's required, on any given day, someone could get beat if they're not mindful. But I think that, we're just at a better point. And to Craig's earlier question, I'm picking this time, 2026 over any other time in history, and I'll stand on that.
All right, this was definitely a great topic, Peter, and everything else. Who would I go with? On one aspect, probably a lot of the older athletes from back in the day, because when you hear the stories and you hear about what they've done and they accomplish, you want to see them accomplish it. You want to be there to witness it. But the one good thing about a lot of those athletes back then, they became the standard bearers. They laid the foundation. They are the ones that developed the roadmap that athletes now follow. And sometimes to see some of these athletes during the ancient times, to see them compete would be pretty interesting to see. Just to see what they were able to do and accomplish. Hearing about the stories, reading about them is one thing, but if you ever have an opportunity to watch it, that is such amazement. I think a lot of us would like to see Jack Johnson in his prime. I think some of us would love to see Babe Ruth in his prime. I think some of us would love to see Gordie Howe in his prime. I think some people would like to see Babe Dietrichson in her prime, or Althea Gibson in her time, just to see these athletes and see what they've done that helped lay the foundation that a lot of athletes inspire to be like today. And it would be great to see that sometimes.
Mommy, I didn't do that.
All right. And I think that'd be one of the greatest things to do. And that's all I got to say. And those are some words worth thinking about. Thank you.
Daddy!
Good night, Carter.
This one
Carter, it's okay. Come on.
All right, so I think everybody had a good point, pretty much. I love to see the old athletes, how they trained, how they did everything.
go.
So it's just one of those things. It's just like we don't know, unfortunately. So, but you didn't answer my question. When the Giants and Flyers play, who do you think they're going to win that game?
Wait, say again? Who was playing? You said Rangers and Flyers?
Yeah.
You said Rangers and Flyers?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Rangers fan, and I would go with them.
I'm a Ranger fan too.
But I'll have to say Philadelphia because I'm looking at the Rangers, and they made some, and what they're doing. And just before the Olympic break, they just traded Brett and Timmy Perrin. They just traded him to the Kings for draft picks. And from what Chris Drury said about this being a retool and not a rebuild, he's real serious about it. And I don't like the fact on how it's being done. Mm-hmm. And I feel like all the work that they put in, and I'm not talking about Drury, I'm talking about Scott Gordon and John Davidson, and all the work and the time they put in to build the Rangers teams from back then, through draft picks, through trades, for them to come very close time and time again. And then Drury comes in, takes the job from both of them, and now it's starting to take it apart. I don't like how that happened. I don't like how he's treated some of these former players because I feel like he's treated them like crap and they don't deserve that. I don't like the fact that he traded Chris Kreider in the offseason. I don't like the fact that he traded Keandre Miller in the offseason. I feel like that was a Bush League move what he did to Jacob Trouba. You know, trading the guy after his wife gave birth to their first child. And I felt like Drury was not only being petty or dealing with Dolan's pettiness, but instead of keeping it behind closed doors, and Drury, of all people, should know this because he was a former player himself. And players have always had a code. Whatever issues and grievances you have, you set it behind closed doors. Whatever issues you have with management, you settle it behind closed doors. And the fact that Drury is putting it out there for everyone to see is pathetic. And he's going against what it means to be part of the, not just playing for this team, but everything that comes along with it. And what makes this even more frustrating with the Rangers, this is their centennial season. This is their 100th season of playing hockey. And they're celebrating this with the Detroit Red Wings and the Chicago Blackhawks. These are the last of the original 6 teams that can say they have 100 years of competition under their belt. And he's doing this crap. And it really pisses me off. It really does. And a lot of us Ranger fans have seen this team come close. And we're okay because we've seen this team battle it out day in and day out, day in and day out. Yes, we've seen them make the playoffs. Yes, we've seen them win the President's Trophy. Yes, we've seen them make it all the way to the conference finals and come up short. Yes, it sucks, but guess what? At least we saw a promise. But what does he do? He takes it apart. Gets rid of Jacob Trouba the way he did, and I didn't like that. Trading Chris Kreider in the offseason. I really didn't like that. And shout out to the Rangers fans for giving Kreider that ovation that he got during the holiday season when the Ducks were in town. He earned that. He deserved it. Get rid of Keandre Miller. Trading Kapokako. Igor Shesterkin is hurt now. And Jonathan Quick, this is probably going to be his last year in the league. He's finding ways to try to keep it together. And it sucks that goaltenders can't wear the C. Because I can tell he's doing whatever it takes. And I can see JT Miller. Yes, you bring him back and you put the C on him. But that usually means it's a kiss of death. Because every time you see a Ranger player get the C, what happens within the next year or two? They get traded. And now from the way it looks, Mika Zibanejad may not be here at the end of the year once the Olympic break is over. And that's what worries me more. That maybe we've seen him the last time wearing Ranger blue. Right now, he's playing for his home country of Sweden. And who knows what's going to happen after that once the Olympic break is over. Is he still going to be a Ranger, or are they going to keep him out until they trade him? It's just getting ridiculous. Ranger fans.
And time when's that channel dropping? I'm telling you, you started something, Peter. So I'm just saying, you got to get that.
I've been working with him in the background. Don't worry.
You got to get that channel up there because he's got hot takes.
I'm gonna fill you in soon. Don't worry. I'll fill you in soon. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got you. I have to give you the updates. All right. Okay. Me and him are working. But anyway, guys, let's get the heck out of here. Let me do a quick.
Sorry, you know how it is. I'm sorry. I just
no, you're good. It was my fault. I opened the can of worms. So no, Sean will be hopefully dropping the video sometime tomorrow. He will not be live anymore from moving forward.
Really?
Then then on on Thursday, Paul and Ferg will be going over car insurance and buying. Thank you. And then, Greg, you know I hate when you do that. I will boot you off. We will have Russian talk on Friday. And this is Paul's show that he asked me a while back to do, and I posted it. Is Rogue AI, fiction versus reality. And we'll be back on the gray area this Sunday. Except that This was the Spartan Arena. I'm the Spartan. My boy UK, Anton, Mr. President, as always. Oh, let me get my stuff ready here because I'm talking and I'm not ready here. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys.
Y'all have a good one. Be safe.